president has recently said that he's giving Nigerians the Nigeria Air as a parting gift. It's supposed to be something Nigerians should be happy and grateful for. It's a gift.
What is a gift about it? That's the question. I mean, I've asked many people who are proponents of this project to say, look, tell me in bullet point 1, 2, 3, what exactly is the average Nigerian, the citizen, going to be benefiting from a national carrier? There are so many countries who don't have national carrier. What is the national carrier of America? You don't know it. British Airways is 100% privately owned. Lufthansa is 100% privately owned. These were even national carriers. These were things that started as national carriers. And the countries have sold them off. In fact, the last bid that Germany was holding onto in Lufthansa, it disposed of it to the private sector. And it was more or less as a bailout. Can you imagine? Lufthansa with all its had to be literally built up by being sold to the private sector. What are we talking about? What are we getting ourselves into? And we are celebrating. Don't get me wrong. The Ministry of Aviation under this regime has done quite well in several areas.
That's correct.
Terminals have been good. There has been an improvement. There have been ranking and rating. The gentleman in that seat has done fantastically well for aviation in this country. But this issue of national carrier, I am struggling so much to be able to list bullets 1, 2, and 3 of the advantages that the national carrier will be bringing to Nigeria. You are going to be owing less than 5% of this national carrier, for example. So is it the dividend that is attracting you? The ownership of 49% is going to be by Ethiopian Air. So Ethiopian Air is the manager, obviously, the operator. He already has his processes done. He owns the aircraft. So what exactly is this 4-point-something% ownership of so-called national carrier? And what is national if you are owning 4% of it? I don't understand.
But maybe because it bears the name Nigeria, maybe that's what makes it national. Let's talk about the funding for this airline. What was the funding like? Did Nigeria have to put money on the table? I mean, if we're doing just 4%, like you said, of the ownership, I mean, that must mean that Ethiopian Airlines put the bulk of the money on the table, yes? Or what's Nigeria bringing onto the table?
Nigeria has already spent a lot of money to midwife the project up till this day. Don't forget the design of the logo, issues about bringing in the training aircraft, or 20 training aircraft. So Nigeria has already expended some money. Now, in a deal like this, you could value what Nigeria has put on it. In fact, you could value the project as it is, and you could determine what constitutes 5% ownership and what the other private players are going to bring. The other private player will definitely be 95%. Will be the one funding the bulk of the project. That is the reality. So whatever Nigeria has spent will be valued at 5%. So this is 5% of what it is. And if it is more than 5%, there are always structure-wise, there are ways to deal with that. Those are not. The issue is that you're going to be having 5%. So is this the dividend that is exciting you, or is it the history behind the Nigeria Airways, Nigeria? What exactly is the excitement about?
Well, look, first of all, talking about the funding, now so far, the Ethiopian Airlines had sunk a lot of money into this project, up to $300 million. That was raised for this project. Ethiopian Airlines, $300 million. That's quite a lot of money. Nigeria, of course, raised about 5% of what was needed. But as you said, this government has been, enthusiastic and daydreaming about the idea of Nigeria owning its own national airline. When asked what the essence of the national air is, for Nigerians, I remember that the aviation minister said that for Nigerians, it will boost the economy, boost tourism, open up the space. And yes, so isn't that something that could happen? I mean, with Nigeria owning its own carrier, could there be a possibility? I know this is impossible. I'm just asking tongue in cheek. Is there a possibility that Nigerians will get a better fare rate, to fly on Nigeria Air? I mean, could that be possible?
If Nigeria Air is to survive, actually, it cannot undercut itself on prices.
Right.
It must still raise prices that will enable it to be able to cover its cost and have a little return to these people you said have brought $300 million to the market. These private investors are not Red Cross. These are not charity. So they must be able not just to cover their costs, but also to leave margins of return to their shareholders. So they can't undercut the prices. They cannot. And you say the tourism angle as well. Tourism is not because you have your own national carrier. That is not what determines whether tourists come to your country. The tourist destination, it could help if there are not many other airlines that are coming into. For example, Egypt Air is believed to help Egypt tourism. Egypt has a robust tourism industry. But it is not the cart before the horse. It is a horse before the cart. There must be a tourism environment. All the issues of insecurity and the rest, certain development around those are tourist centers, such that people feel safe. There are places to stay when they come to those tourist centers. There is means of getting to those tourist. Those are the things that we also need to fix, even if tourism is our goal. But driving those tourism, we could also as well use the domestic airlines that are already existing.
That's correct.
Government can choose, support them, and they can deliver on this same mandate. That is why it becomes confusing to see why we are desperate about this national carrier. Because whatever this national carrier is going to do, we already have some other framework that we can support to deliver on those mandates.
Do you think Nigeria could have bargained better in this deal to have, more stake?
I am not so sure if Nigeria should be in this business at all. That is my take. And I've given examples from Austria Airline to Lufthansa, of all airlines, to British Airways. Everybody is getting out of the business. The question is, why are we getting into it? If it is about the influence that, national carrier, when it comes to certain discussions about, the right to fly into certain countries and all of the rest, we can also have a similar arrangement without necessarily using this, floating this national carrier. We can provide similar strong support. In fact, we can decide to go and take this 5% equity in one of the existing airlines. They will be
That's even better, right?
Go to one of our existing lines and propose to take 5% equity. Why are we not doing that? So it is not exactly very clear. It would have been nice to hear from the minister explaining in more detail why it is of benefit to Nigeria and as citizens. For me, as a citizen, I'm struggling to see what I stand to benefit from the 5% ownership of a carrier to be called a national.
That's the show this morning. Gbolahan Olojede.
If Ethiopia Airline makes money, will it not repatriate that money back to its country?
And then we might have forex repatriation problems again, like we had for other airlines who threatened to pull out of Nigeria, right?
So that is still the reality. Of course, we might say, everybody you pay in Naira is our national airline. At the end of the day, the operator is a foreign operator.
Yeah.
He doesn't spend Naira. He still needs to be able to repatriate that money back to his country.
Right.